Okay, it is 6:07, and I'm calling this meeting to order with Ms. Shea is on the
Present.
committee, and I am on the committee, and you are sitting in, so thank you. Let's see here. Agenda item number 1 is the minutes. If I can find my own agenda. Just thought I had it up, but I didn't. And did you get the minutes that I did send?
I got them and I read them.
Okay. Do you have any comments or questions on it?
I did not.
That was something I was going to discuss.
Oh, thanks. Cool.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
Can I have a motion to approve or not to approve or to burn them or whatever it is you're going to do? Okay, March 20th. Do we have a motion?
Oh,
Move to accept?
Yep.
Okay. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
I know.
I haven't really seen it, but it's.
I know you'll have better understanding.
they weren't very long.
They're very short.
They're very short,
I
very
think
straight to the point.
March 20th and April 26th I did. April 13th I actually asked Sue to do. So she said she probably won't get to them for another week though. That's
Okay,
because I didn't feel like sitting down there and watching a PR meeting.
I got two,
Yeah.
and I'm ready to vote on both of them because I checked them out quick.
Hello. Okay, so okay, all those in favor on March 20th. Okay, and abstain. Thank you. April 13th, as I said, is not done yet. April 26th. Any comments or questions on that?
I move we accept the General Government Subcommittee minutes of April 26th.
Second.
Okay.
Right, so.
All those in
this is
favor?
a negative, what does that mean?
That's,
That's already committed, or?
Okay, item number 6 is discuss and review a transfer request for 2842 from insurance deductible to insurance property and liability to cover the cost of the
Okay, so
fire department
there
and
actually
DPW
is-
equipment and DPW replacement vehicle added to the policy.
So we have to meet that against the capital account to get rid of
Is this,
it.
I move that we, we're just discussing it.
at the moment, we can make a motion if you want.
The way the accounts are until
Okay.
Is there,
then a journal has to get done. Transfer.
what replacement,
Oh,
DPW
we have-
replacement cost vehicles.
Okay.
I don't know.
We talked about moving this money around a couple of times for a couple of other vehicles.
Don't know if anything's earmarked.
Yeah, I think we had that come
So
up a
that
couple
thing
months
that I
ago.
got there is just really concerned about all the projects we have going and how much.
In the future, it might be nice if it was done when we get the new vehicle on board.
It'd probably be good, yeah. Amazing how that goes.
Okay.
Not like a year and a half later.
Okay.
What was the added fire and police
I
equipment?
don't know, I'm hoping that, I don't know who okay, this is, we're on number 6, the transfer request for insurance deductible to insurance property and liability. Is that you, Christine, or
That's
Charlie, or?
me, I have that.
Okay,
So we have a couple bills where vehicles changed, so then we got updated billings, so we just have to do a transfer in order to change over those, because it had to do with the new DPW truck and the new fire truck.
okay,
The new fire truck and the new DPW vehicles. When we did policy adjustments for the newer vehicles to take the old ones off and swap them around, obviously newer vehicles cost more on insurance.
Right.
So these are just to cover the policy adjustments.
okay. Any other questions?
So what were the fire department vehicles?
I think, was it an ambulance, I think?
Oh,
ambulance and
I think it was, this was the new ambulance that,
Well, no.
we had enough to cover one vehicle, but not enough. I think it was just, I think it ended up being the ambulance.
and the fire and the police
Okay,
department?
No, fire department.
No.
Fire department and
Fire
DPW.
department and DPW.
It says police on mine.
Mine says fire department and DPW replacement vehicles.
Mine says to cover the cost of fire and police equipment.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, that is weird, because mine doesn't say that.
That's the one, this is the one I received, so,
I could just have my notes wrong on my paper when I ran in.
okay.
That is weird, because the one posted on the website is the one I'm looking at, and that says fire DPW equipment, DPW replacement vehicles.
So there's no police?
That is weird.
No, I was going by
Joyce?
fire.
I thought we did a transfer on PPP subcommittee of money for insurance to cover the fire department's vehicles.
If they need you for more information.
Yeah.
Did we?
I thought we did that on the, when he got the bill for the,
No, it was misunderstood.
deputy chief's vehicle pickup truck. I thought we did a transfer.
Thank you.
I recall doing something, a transfer for
There was
insurance coverage a while
there was a prior
ago,
transfer, but it wasn't enough to cover.
but it wasn't for
vehicle.
this.
Part of it was, but it wasn't enough. There was a miscalculation.
Oh,
Okay.
So this is to
Okay.
correct that and
Okay.
hopefully cover through the fiscal year.
okay.
Because that's the only vehicle with the town, with the fire department, was the pickup truck. Because the ambulance isn't here yet. That's the only new vehicle they've gotten. Like I said, I
Okay.
know we did a transfer with them.
Okay, yeah,
So
I vaguely
like
remember
you say,
that
it
too.
must be an adjustment.
Maybe
Okay.
we should get some more information on this. I mean, I don't.
I have the
we
two
might
bills
not-
right here that we haven't been able to pay without the transfer.
Okay, okay.
Can I see them?
Can we, will we get them in the packets for Monday?
I just brought it with me so I have something to reference. But one of the vehicles being adjusted was a fire vehicle, and another one was the DPW vehicle.
Okay.
But previously, when there was an adjustment,
And it also says DPW equipment, is that, what is that?
that's for the additional equipment for the
On the
the
vehicles
catch
itself.
basin, that clamshell pack,
Oh, okay, okay,
all of those
Oh, yeah.
additional equipments that went onto them.
okay. Do you want to see this?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
This one does say, police equipment. And the other one says, Honda generator
It's a backup generator.
for the fire department.
Nancy knows all the, Nancy
And a
knows the answer.
Motorola APX. That's probably one of the.
Those are all the equipment that go in the vehicle, so they're all added to the policies.
Radios and stuff, okay.
So Nancy knows the ins and outs of these, I just did the transfer on the
So
behalf.
they will have this information for the,
Yeah,
the town
you-
council.
yeah. Okay,
Alright,
Cool.
thank you.
so can I have a motion? If there's any more, if there are no more questions.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
That's,
All those in favor? Okay, you. Okay. Review capital planning. Capital expense recommendations. Okay, so we have sort of half talked about this a couple of times already. And it had delayed primarily because of issues surrounding some of the stuff that your committee didn't recommend. Especially the tip project was the big sticking point. So, do you have anything you want to say about this for starters?
Well, as I said the last time,
Where'd
the
Christine go?
tip, pardon?
I said, where'd Christine go? She's the chair of that committee.
No,
No, she's
Adriana.
Oh, Adriana is right.
So
Adriana
the
is.
tip project, and I don't really quite understand why this was added on there, the things that we didn't vote for. I don't know why this was included, but.
right, my understanding is Steve just came in and mentioned that,
Right.
that's something he thought he might need, but didn't have any backup on it, right? So
The-
I don't
the
think it's
tip-
something the committee would have been able to vote on.
The
eh?
tip project, what we were understanding was that it was delayed a year. That's what we were told.
Well, it is, as far as the construction, but not the design. In fact, that's why I'm here, so I gave you that information, I
Right,
can forward that really
please.
quickly.
And then the other issue is, before you begin,
Yep.
is that even if it is, if you do wanna spend money on it, it's coming out of water.
Right, yeah.
Well, that's what we need to
That's what it says
clarify.
here.
What we're doing, because I know that we've had to fund parts of the tip project, at least the downtown one, for various phases of the project over the years.
This one is from the water department, so it would come out of water stabilization.
Right.
However,
But it
we
wasn't-
felt that because it was being delayed a year, we would hold off on funding it this year, because as we've seen in the past, we put money into a capital account and it just sits there. And no one knows, and then years later, why is that money sitting there? So we wanted to wait until it comes up before we start funding these
Mhm.
things.
Okay,
Go
well.
ahead, Charlie, I'm sorry.
So I mean, the whole thing, brought to my attention the fact that we needed to look at all these projects, because, the town is committed to do these projects. They've gotten grants for some, they've done the engineering. So most of the engineering is, if not completed, quite a ways along on at least the first six projects or so. So what I have here is just a summary of the projects that were brought to my attention that we have for, DPW projects from various funding sources, including primarily the TIP project, because I know you were very concerned about what was going on with the TIP project. So if you go to the second sheet, this is like the summary of where we are. So the first two projects actually have been in the works for a while. They're small bridge grants. The town got $500,000 for each of those bridges, the
Right.
Ashland Ave and also the Elm Street. And the engineering was done. Chapter 90 funds were used for the engineering. And the design was done. And the status of those is that they're not ready to go out for bid. On the Ashland Avenue, I believe that Matt was going to do the easement work and the right-of-way work on that, and that wasn't done. And both of those projects need to have an extension to the grant if they're going to go forward and, you know, keep that grant hopefully for another year and have them completed by next year. But what it does bring to the attention on this is how much the town fund would be. It turns out that in the Ashland Ave, I think when that was presented to the town council, the idea was a $500,000 grant and maybe the whole project would be $900,000. Now that it's been designed, it looks like it's more like $1.7 million. And so that $1.3 million would be what the town would be committed to come up with to do that job. On the Elm Street, I haven't got an update on the construction estimate, but a year and a half ago, so it was supposed to be $1 million, which then would be $500,000 from the grant and $500,000 for the town. That needs to be verified, but I put that in as the $500,000. On the TIP, this is kind of a summary of, you know, we've had amendments to the design, you know, engineering contract. Some of it was funded, this amendment number 1, with those sources of funds from different capitals and so forth. I was able to get that. So the total engineering is up to like $800,000. But the bottom line on this is that the town share is roughly $2.3 million, of which $1.5 million is water. So that's what the summary I have on that. So again, I'm just trying to summarize the town's commitments on all of these projects. The other TIP projects are actually 2 bridges on Mill Street, over Quinnebog River and over McKin Street. And those are relatively small amount, but I have those in there. And again, the Mass DOT portion, I think that's in the wrong place. Oh, no, maybe it isn't. No, that's true. Okay. So the Mass DOT is paying a lot more on that, I guess. East Main Street is a project that has quite a bit of commitment from the town.
Yeah.
Road paving of 1.6, water improvements of 1.3, and stormwater of 1.1. Now those could go up because those are estimates from over a year ago. And I did talk with McClure Engineering. They have the 95% design done on it, but they haven't really updated, you know, those costs completely. The rail trail, you know, is another one that, again, the town costs would be roughly $352,000. But again, the total construction is over $4 million, so, you know, we are getting a benefit from that.
Yeah.
And then the next two.
I think we've already put aside our money for that project, haven't we?
Well, I'm not sure where. I mean, a lot of it came in from, you know, the Mass DOT grant, EDA funds. I'm not really certain how much the town has put aside. The only one I really was clear on that the town did take a vote on is on the downtown intersection improvement project. The town did vote to authorize that of $550,000 from the water enterprise fund toward that now it's 1.3 million. Before it was 1.5, but I think it's closer to 1.3. Now it's closer to 1.5. So, and then the Crane and River Street, again, they've done the engineering. It's in the works, but none of the construction or anything is done. But those are the estimates. Now, those estimates are from over a year ago when I think Matt put those estimates together, so they may have to be updated. And the last one is really only on there because the town council did vote to authorize or to commit $750,000 from the water and sewer enterprise funds for the project. That's one that we don't have the grant for yet.
Oh,
And so, I mean, there's no real commitment at this point. but I felt it should be on the overall summary because it actually has been a vote to commit that. So basically, for these projects, the town is, committed just under 7 million for, town funding of the work, either on paving or drainage or anything related to the road work, less water. 3.3 million for water. And then the 375, I just split the 750 in half, not knowing, what the project would look like for the raised grant at Hamilton Street.
Right, okay.
So, I mean, before I had done this, I didn't have an idea of how much, commitment there really was for these. I will give this to the collector treasurer, because she's working on the borrowing we need to do, this year and what'll happen beyond that for like the fire station and all the other projects we've committed to. So they should just be aware of this, that if these projects go through, at some point, there'll be borrowing on them as
Oh,
the
yeah.
construction goes forward.
So what is this, adding all of these things into all the other borrowing that we've got out there already, how close are we to our debt limit?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think you're very close, but I mean, I was going to add to this other, not only the debt we have, more importantly, debt that's been authorized and not issued. I mean, I can get that information off the audit. I've seen it, and I'll try to get there. So, for example, I think there could be other water, debt that has been authorized that hasn't been issued. We know the 550 was authorized and not issued. There may be others there too. So.
Okay.
And I just got from, Christine, some figures here on what's, possibly available in the sewer and water enterprise funds, and I'll verify that with her and try to get a better number on what's, really in the water capital fund and the sewer capital and what the intent of that was to be. But it seems to me that with funding of this order of magnitude, there's going to certainly have to, be some borrowing done, for these projects.
So, so then I guess the underlying question then is, as far as our capital needs for this year, which of these projects I absolutely need to have something happen from the town side this year?
Well, none of them actually do. In other words, other than the recognition that this is what we've committed to, and if they're bid, we'll have to do, short-term borrowing and then ultimately maybe some bonding on it. The capital plan that, we looked at and were presented was really these favorable recommendations. In other words, the fire department, the police department, the library, and the school. And I'm particularly happy with the school one because, I mean, otherwise we would have had to, come out of the operating budget, which we can't afford to do that. So, when I saw this is, I think, a good proposal. It takes half the money from the capital stabilization, half from free cash. And I think these are all projects that we need, and I think they did a good job on that. And I know you also wanted the 5-year plan updated. I believe that Adriana did this. I haven't had a chance to really look at it yet, but hopefully I'll go through it. If you have any questions, let me know. Or she can come down. I know she's up at the search committee meeting now, but I told her if you needed more information on that, as you looked at it, I'd have her come down from the
Okay.
search committee.
Is that the same thing, that document that you sent us?
I believe so.
It is?
I think.
And that was last year's capital.
I think she updated some. I haven't seen how. But
So, yeah, like he said, these are the things that we recommended. We didn't recommend the TIP project. I don't really know why she put all the
yeah,
things that we
it's
didn't recommend on
right,
here.
right. I
But-
agree.
Because it's not coming up this year. It's
Right.
been delayed a year.
Exactly.
I don't really want to start putting money into capital funds that we're not gonna use, because look at all the funds we have sitting there.
No, I totally agree with that. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't in a situation where, like with some of these TIP projects, that they delay things, we're not told what's going on,
Yeah.
and then something happens, and then we've missed a deadline
Right.
that we absolutely need to meet. That's what I wanted to make sure.
I don't
we
believe
avoid.
we are missing.
No, as a matter of fact, they had started having weekly phone calls, to make sure we're on track with the things we needed to do. So I think that part of it is fine.
Okay.
As far as the capital stabilization fund, I did go through the meeting, DPW meeting, that we moved the money up,
Mhm.
and there was a lot, I sent you that email, there was a lot of talk about using it on roads,
Mhm.
town hall, buildings, other capital items, but it wasn't earmarked for just the town hall. In fact, you said
Yeah.
at the time, I'd like someone to go to the town hall, but not all of it.
Mhm.
So that's why we tried to be very conservative here, so you do have a lot of money left over for the building needs.
Right.
That's why we went very conservative.
Good.
And we split it in half from free cash, that gives you plenty of money in free cash for use for stabilizing the budget, also for our credit rating, so that's
Mhm.
why we went very conservative. I think we did a good one.
I do.
Okay, okay.
All right, I think I'll head up to the search committee meeting.
Well,
and-
before
Go
Charlie
ahead.
leaves, Charlie, isn't it safe to say though, that under the 24 budget, that the tip project at Central Foster Street is going out for bid? And,
Later year.
no, it's going out for bid May of '23, it says, if I read that wrong. Construction estimate, May 23 was bid,
No, the construction estimate was done in May,
okay,
but the bid date is gonna be October.
all right, so how
Oh,
about
this
like the East Main Street project, bid is in January 24 with a 2-year construction
So
period.
that's not a capital item, I
That's under next year's budget, right?
No, they're not. All we have in for next year's budget for this is any short-term borrowing that might be needed. If this goes out to bid, for example, in January, 24, then, any work that is undertaken in there, there'll be, short-term borrowing, to fund that, and then it'll be bonded.
Because when the DPW director was here, he was speaking about going out for bid in January, on a particular project with construction to start very shortly afterwards. And I thought it was the,
think that's the last one,
Bridges.
right, that's part of the East Main.
No,
I
so-
thought it was part of the East Main project, and the rail trail, that's another one.
Yeah,
And,
I thought the rail trail was supposed to start this year, isn't it?
right, and
Yeah.
right, that's under this year's budget.
Well, it's my understanding the rail trail is gonna go out to bid in the fall, and maybe start construction
So
next
these
year.
are, what we voted on here are the things that were brought to our capital planning committee. Just like last year, when McCall brought his capital budget to the town council to vote on, these are all vehicles and things.
Right, but
He
I
didn't
thought,
bring roads to us, he didn't bring East Main, he didn't bring the tip project.
but I thought the
No.
DPW director mentioned some projects that were gonna coming up that would maybe not capital money, but maybe bonding money, that's gonna be starting sometime. One part was a big project he
Well,
just mentioned about.
they will most likely, Judge, be bonded, because, we're
Right.
talking, if all these projects went forward, we're talking $7 million.
So those bonding projects not part of the capital
The
money.
debt, to pay those down, won't need to go into the budget until either 25 or
Okay.
26.
All right.
So in other words, anything that goes through in this year, would just be
These are
short-term
capital
borrowing to
assets.
get these things
Right.
started. But then, once the projects are through, we see how much money we need to borrow, then that's when they do the borrowing on these.
Okay.
But there'll be short-term borrowing, then there'll, borrowing in anticipation of notes. And
So I guess potentially what I'm trying to say is that if
this debt is
construction,
gonna hit in later years.
Yeah,
if
okay.
construction, I hate to see construction coming up in, because it wasn't on the capital, it's not gonna.
No,
Exactly.
there
that's what I
wouldn't
was
be
thinking.
anything that had to come out of these capital
Okay.
plans
This
for
is
that.
for-
In other words,
That's
this is really just because the tip thing ended up on there, as Mike said, kinda shouldn't have maybe, in that summary sheet. But you wanted some information, so that's the current
Mhm.
information on that. And
Okay.
again, the debt, whatever the town ends up, doing the longer term debt on for those projects would be in future.
Right, and these projects have been basically already approved by the town.
They have, that's why,
Yeah,
that's why I'm bringing up the fact that because of the votes the council took, to accept these
Right.
grants and pay for the engineering in some cases, that assuming these numbers are correct, and of course, a lot of them have gone up a lot because of the inflation we've seen in the
True.
last year, they're much
Right.
higher than they were. This is, as much as I can tell, what we're committed to in these areas, and
Okay.
those numbers will change based on bids.
Great,
And then the actual time that it hits any kind of long-term borrowing, it'll be a plan, and it'll hit the tax, rate later on.
okay. That's it, that's
All right,
pretty good. Yep.
okay, well, thank you all.
thank you, that was helpful.
Do you need Adrian or anything on that later, or on the other thing, on the
Anything-
5-year
do we-
plan?
did we
No,
need
but
it?
I think Mike has, explained what that is pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Chief. Thank you, Charlie.
Take care.
Okay, so do we have anything else we need to do with this? Okay, then
Lower the interest rates again.
that would be nice. Anybody else have any questions about items that are on the capital plan and? Okay, so then is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Okay. Specifically to do what? To accept it as drafted? Is that
it's
what you're saying?
accepted as drafted.
Well, what does
Okay.
the agenda say? Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
Yes, okay. Okay.
Yeah, that, yeah.
Any comment, any questions or comments there, John? Did you have anything? Okay. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. And finally, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, you're not gonna look at
Huh?
gonna look at any of the rest of these numbers?
Did we want to?
No, I don't.
Okay. We can rescind the vote and talk about it some more, but.
No, the other capital that we were going around about last time.
True. Okay, all those in favor? Good, thank you.